All right, so today's metabolic coaching call is about taking time for yourself, especially as men, whether you're dad, husband, business owner, or any position in your business. We don't have much time to ourselves. And I think that's one of the biggest limiting factors that causes us to lose ourselves in any way, shape, or form. And health is a representation of how connected you are to yourself, how resilient you are, how strong you are, how powerful you are, how energized you are, how much you can give, protect, provide, all the things that we value and that we take on as men. And this has been just a circulating conversation this past week with several clients that I had calls with and talks with, where the realization and of the importance of taking time for yourself. And it could be in any way, shape, or form. Doesn't matter if you go for a walk, meditate, strength train, uh, work on something that you can internalize your thoughts and reflect upon yourself and reflect upon your own thoughts and your own feelings. That's one of the most important things to help you get ahead in anything that you need to do, because it allows you to address the things that are being ignored or to address the things that you need to prioritize in order to help others. And as the saying goes, if you want to help others, help yourself. And it's cliche, but it is so damn true. And I can recall two specific conversations this past week with clients that were going around the aspect of making time for myself. And when they get out of tune, it's because they're not taking time for themselves. And there's seasons for that. Sometimes it's just chaos and you find, can't break ground, you can't make way, you can't find any space for yourself. And that's where, these talks are ultimately about that every single week. And anything that you can use to optimize your input and your thoughts or your body or your health or your energy is giving back to yourself so that you can do more for others. So, going over the idea of time to yourself, it reverts attention that is drawn from you to other people. So, your family, your business, whatever else that you got going on, it could be a bodily injury, it could be low energy, it could be another issue going on some way in your health or some way in your body or some way in your life that pulls attention away from joy, that pulls away attention from peace, that pulls away attention from you being present in the moment. Instead, you're thinking about the past or the future or the frustration or the attention grabber or the distraction, or you may feel the frustration, something's out of line and you need to regain composure, regain strength, regain energy to be able to go back out on the field and do what you need to do at the best level, because those results that you achieve by putting attention and focus outward towards your family, your business, being a dad, all the other things that you have to do, that performance is going to dictate the joy and health and energy in your life. Because if you're fucking up out there, you're going to take it inwardly and beat yourself up. And so you got to do the things for yourself first and foremost, inwardly, personally, so that you can perform well to then receive the reciprocation of what you're putting out, right? So if it's shit performance outward, you need to go inward to recollect, reconnect, and then be able to go outward again to perform at a higher level to get better results, to have more joy and connection with your wife or your girlfriend or your kids or your clients, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And so reverting the attention back inwardly and identifying the things that you need, the things that you need to pay attention to. And sometimes it just requires you to ask, what do I need to work on? What's fucking up? What do I need to pay attention to? Let's kind of backtrack here in terms, first and foremost, anything that I'm sharing here, can you guys relate to in any way, shape, or form? Mike, Kyle, can you guys sound off on anything in terms of lack of time for yourself or making time for yourself and how it actually affects you? and your life and everybody around you?
Yeah, absolutely. It's really difficult. Like I'm pulled multiple directions all the time, so it's really hard to do that. Usually, I got to wake up at 5 in the morning to get, you know what I mean, a workout in or take my lunch and lunchtime type of deal and get, give myself time. But yeah, it's a never ending grind when you're busy, you're running a business, you got family and I got animals and I got this and that. I got a lot of responsibility. It's yeah, you got there's just so many things that are pulling you in different directions. So it's really
Yep.
difficult to get.
Mike, what about you? Anything?
Yeah, kind of the same thing. With my job, kids, and all the other stuff I have going on, it was like I ended up like having to shift my time to go get up at 5 and work out then and then get home and then do some work and then, my wife and kids will wake up. So like yeah, just the time management part is
Yep,
hard. So
for sure. So, finding that time to work out, I was in the same case, especially when my son was younger. He's 13 now, so I got a lot more uh independence going on where I can break free and go work out in the middle of the day as opposed to when he was younger. That wasn't an option. Research and uh studying, which is key to, growth in any way, shape, or form, no matter what the subject is, whether it's nutrition or psychology or spirituality or quantum physics or anything, any type of research that you can implement on a consistent basis, that's time to yourself as well. So I had to do that at 4 o'clock in the morning and do it before my son got up and got ready for school, because all your attention is drawn towards them or that or the other things that you can't focus on. Kyle, you talk about, the animals and this, that, and the other, the business and the family. Um, Mike talking about the same thing relatively to the same aspect. It's how to find time for yourself. This is the conversations that I was having with my other clients this week, is that it's the same story you guys just stated right there. It's the same situation, just in their own way, in their own reality. And things that can help create a gap in the midst of all that is pulling attention away from you. I like to use jujitsu as an example. In jujitsu, it was common, I'm about like 220, so they would always pair me up with the big guys. So these guys were like 280, 300 pounds, 260 pounds. And it's a lot of weight. And these guys would just bury their weight on top of me. So I would be my back on the mat with this big guy on top of me, hard to breathe, hard to move, hard to get into any adjustment. But what I did was I would focus on my breath, breathe as much air as I could with my chest compressed against a 300-pound behemoth on top of me, and slowly but surely twist and turn my hips and my shoulders around until I started to get a certain angle where I could get my leg around his leg, and then boom, sweep, flip, and then I'm on top of him. And that may have taken 5 minutes. And in jujitsu or in combat, that's a long time, right? But you never give up and you continue to focus on the one thing that you can control. And that's really, in an aspect, yourself. You could tune that to your breath. You could tune that to your self-talk. You could tune that to your posture, how you're sitting, how you're standing, how you're moving, how you're holding yourself, how you're speaking, any of those things. In the midst of those things, though, that's ways to like revert. And this isn't done automatically. It needs to be trained. You need to put yourself through these situations constructively to prepare yourself for real life situations where you don't react, you don't overreact, you don't fuck up, you don't create messes, essentially score when the ball's in your hand to be able to handle a situation. And it's not always anger problems, issues, things like that. It's kids wanting your attention, wanting to play. It's, you know, your wife wanting a certain way or a certain, you know, a way of showing love and being connected and those types of things. Like you got to juggle multiple balls, you got to spin many plates at a time, and creating that space where you can be present with them by being present with yourself, acknowledging that the 300-pound man is on top of your chest, but you're still able to breathe and move and twist and turn and make and keep the end goal in mind the entire time and be present with those goals. I think the biggest distractor above all that we can control is this. Me personally, I can speak. And I know probably 90% of people else out there, same situation, same problem, is distractions. Unnecessary distractions is probably one of the biggest gaps that we can close and fill by creating more time for ourselves. So instead of scrolling and falling into the black hole of social media or distraction, you can fill your time with other things. And a lot of these things are filled up during meaningless times, hitting the bathroom, checking your phone for no reason, drives. Yeah, that's a big one that a lot of guys will spend their time listening to the wrong things or doing the wrong things or things that aren't in alignment with them and who they want to be, or optimizing their time alone with fulfilling things. Sometimes it is blasting certain music or just, you know, fuck off entertainment type stuff. But in my opinion, I think it's better and more constructive and more fulfilling to fill up the majority of the time. 3/4 of the time is typically if I were to like guess how much I spend on my drives or on my walks with my dog is another example of creating time for yourself beyond working out and things like that. Is it's either quiet, it's absorbing time in nature and focusing on being present. It's asking myself questions. It is input from YouTube or podcasts or audiobooks that are going to put in or download certain ways of thinking that will then transpire into conversations like what I'm having with you guys. This doesn't just come out of the blue. This comes from input that I take in throughout the week and then implement it myself, having conversations and experiences in real life with real people and getting feedback. And you guys are included in that, where then we can put this into practice even more. And then you can take this conversation or this information and then apply it to the next situation, the next contact or connect that you're going to have right after this. And that's how you solidify this. It's that law of repetition where you got to put it in play. Action is really the key to solidifying results in any way, shape, or form in our lives. And this is not only, you know, something that can be this particular call right now is something that can be projected out into every other aspect of your life, but creating time for yourself in those little gaps, those little times, driving, making time to go for a 10-minute walk, going to the bathroom and just breathing for 2 minutes. It's dependent upon how high of stress you got going on, how much shit you got going on. You know, Kyle, we were talking, I think last week about cold plunges. Like that's another example of taking time for yourself and just shutting everything off and getting very present, right? Strength training, same thing. You know, so there's like macro ways we can do this, aggressive, very physical, action orientated ways of doing this. And then there's very passive ways of doing this. And just like in jujitsu, it's not all aggressive strength and power. A lot of it is being passive and letting and releasing what is putting pressure on you and just acknowledging, okay, that it's there and I'm going to get through this. I can still breathe. And even in the worst case scenario, I'm in a controlled environment where I can tap out if I really needed to. I'm not going to break my ribs. I'm not going to break my arm just for the sheer aspect of being defeated, right? We get up, we restart, I learned, and then we get back to it again, and I continue to learn over and over and over again. same thing applies to anything that we're doing here, right, in life. So during this time, when you make time for yourself, it doesn't always have to be reflective. It doesn't always have to be uh monumental. It could be just little micro doses of self-reflection and identification of something, and having paper around you. Like, I got a notebook, when I'm going, there's always some type of paper in hand, because I think just getting away from digital and going analog, as I was describing with this being a distraction, helps me to put my thoughts down and at least solidify it to a level to where I can reflect upon it later when I have time for myself. So journaling is a big way of doing this too. It's not something I always do, but it's something that I will go through seasons of journaling. And really, as I take time to journal, I'm much more reflective. I'm much more intentional. And it's really, pick your flavor. There's many ways to do it. And some seasons are gonna be optimized for you to be able to journal. Some seasons are gonna be optimized where it's just getting out and focusing on, going for a walk, getting out in some sun, or going for a lift, or anything that you can implement during a drive is going to help you get to the next step. But you got to continuously be looking for that gap, that way to actually slide yourself around and get that leg around the opponent or situation, so that you can flip over and get on a offensive position where you can, submit or achieve and reach the thing that you are ultimately looking to do. And the things that you can do while you reflect is looking at what is keeping you up at night. I had a cigar with a client last night, went to his house at a bonfire, and we were just kind of having this kind of conversation about time to ourselves. And this was an example of taking time for himself, was just bonfire, and the kids and the wife were traveling, and this was a very limited time where he had to himself. And so we got into talking about this, and one of the questions he brought up that he said was very monumental to him is what keeps him up at night. He was asked in a mastermind meeting what keeps him up at night. And I think this is an Einstein quote that I'm paraphrasing here. The questions that you ask yourself are the most important thing to finding success and growth in your life. If you don't ask yourself questions, and the right questions, you are not going to find the right answers, and therefore you are not going to find the right solutions and have the right results and experiences in your life. So if you're having something in your life that is not at the level you need to be achieving or want to be achieving, you need to ask questions why, or what that is holding you back, or what keeps you up at night, and then identify why that keeps you up at night. So I want to give you some self-reflecting ideas and statements, and how you can utilize this for yourself. So coming to the I'm going to share my screen here. Let's see. Just make sure that this actually pops up if you can see it. Okay. Can you guys see this expansion contraction diagram?
Yep.
Okay. So everything that we have in life, every choice we make, is due to an internal belief, whether it serves us or not, whether it's conscious or not. You believe you are attending this call because you believe that it will give you some type of input to optimize your output. Input equals output. You will eat healthy because you believe that it'll give you the energy and the strength and the power to do whatever it is you need to do and look the certain way that you want to look, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And in the same token, we do things that we know we shouldn't be doing, that we continue to do because we believe that we are going to get some type of reward or some type of satisfaction or some type of outcome that is going to be better than the thing that we know we should be doing. Because if we do the thing we know we should be doing, it is going to cause us to either fail, or we have an internal belief that if we do the thing we know we should be doing, we're going to prove to ourselves that we can't do the thing we know we should be doing. And that leads to failure. That leads to a self-worth issue. That leads to a, I just hit it right there. It's self-worth. It's fear of failure, et cetera, et cetera. So we have negative doubts and we have positive doubt, or negative beliefs and positive beliefs. And so something that I've been reflecting upon here recently is like personal beliefs that are limiting me from getting to the next level. And so this is something that you don't need specifics, but you can identify within yourself something that you should be doing, but you're not doing it. And, it's common with guys that I work with, in that everybody knows how to work out, or everybody knows they should work out. Everybody knows they need to eat healthy, but they don't do it, right? Or they don't seek or do the things that they are told, given a game plan or a blueprint on what to do, and they don't do it. Or in your case, I would put the guys on this call specifically, like, they do the right things and they do it to the best of their ability, but there's still other things they need to work on in other aspects of their life. And you can personally identify that with yourself. So, with this, I just want to give you an outline of a good visual that I came across with positive and negative beliefs. So positive beliefs are by nature expansive, right? Positive expands, it grows, it creates more life, it creates more results. So when you view something from a positive perspective and a positive belief, you get better outcomes, you get better results, you get more synergy around your life and the people around your life and the results ultimately. So it creates more freedom, more growth, more choice, more inspiration, and thus success breeds success, right? It grows, it succeeds. You identify more, you're more self-aware, you're more cool, calm, collective, you're less stressed, so you can perform better, you can think less, you can be more in the moment. These are things that you can sort through in your own mind when you have time to yourself to look at the problems, situations, or scenarios in your life and view it from, are you viewing it from a positive perspective or a negative perspective? Why is this happening to me? Why does she always do this? Why does this always happen? Why am I not doing the things that I need to be doing when I know I should be doing them, etc. Beating yourself up, I'm not worth it, whatever it may come to that you find out. Are you looking at it from a positive perspective or a negative perspective? And you're looking at it from a negative perspective, it's going to lead to contraction. It's going to lead to limitation. It's going to lead to a lack of results. That's an easy way to identify this. You don't need to know necessarily directly right away, but you need to continue to dig and ask and find out what it is that limiting belief is if you're not getting something in your life. And you need to be ruthless about this and continuously ask yourself and continuously train yourself to reflect upon it, to identify that belief, to fix it and neutralize it ultimately. So the contraction aspect to a negative belief is far different than the expansive aspect to a positive belief. Growth, choice, expansion, inspiration, success breeds success with positivity. Now, it doesn't mean you look at a situation where it's obviously hell or a problem or a situation, better put. But you can look at it as a positive, just as that 300-pound man on top of me, that could be looked at as a negative, uncomfortable. Oh my God, I can't breathe. I'm going to die, or something's going to happen, or I'm going to get hurt, or I'm going to get injured, or, why is he pairing me with this guy instead of the guy my size, et cetera, et cetera. As opposed to, I can look at it as a positive and go, okay, in an unpredictable situation, in a scenario where I don't have the advantage, I'm going to create an advantage. This is going to teach me to handle stress in a better way so that I can come out with a positive outcome, right? You dictate the outcome as opposed to being controlled by the situation. And one powerful quote that I learned through coaching was, make decisions based on your vision, not your situation. That's very, very powerful. That's the difference between positive and negative. Make decisions based on your situation, make decisions based on your vision, not your situation. That's an example of spinning a positive no matter what. No matter what the situation is, it just is. We as individuals judge it as positive or negative. It just is a situation. You have the choice to make it a positive, even if it's a shitty situation. Somebody dies in your family, it's an opportunity to reflect upon that person's life and learn from what they did or didn't do, so that you can take that reflection and put it on your own life to live better, live more, and live through them, as an example, right? No such thing as failure, only feedback. That's another example, right? So going into this contraction, and these are things that you can internalize, and these are things that you can, that, you know, like this coaching call, for example, you can listen to this on a drive and reflect upon this idea again, and then make sure you go into silence about this, meaning don't listen to anything and talk to yourself and reflect upon that when you can, whether it's 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 30 minutes, or an hour. If you got a time to drive, utilize that time. If you got time before or after everybody goes to bed, utilize that time. So the contraction aspect of negative beliefs is complete opposite of the positive aspects of positive expansion aspects of positive beliefs. So the contraction of a negative belief, it has tricks. It has a lot more complexity to it. So you got this idea of, I know what to do, but I don't do what I know I need to be doing. And you do it because of a negative belief. So in that belief, you may feel like you don't have a choice, or you don't have power, or you don't have the strength, or you can't see yourself doing the thing without XYZ, whatever it may be. And in that belief, in that lack of choice, in that fixed state, you are basically preserving the current life that you have, whether you value it or not, whether you view it as positive or not, whether it is what you want to be doing or not what you want to be doing. You are keeping that individual alive by staying in that state, in that negative state, in that negative belief or that negative choice. And as opposed to the positive, where you're open-minded, growth-orientated, anything is possible, you can achieve anything if you put your mind to it, et cetera, et cetera. This is my situation. This is what I'm stuck with because my family was this way. This is how my dad was. This is how my wife is. This is how my business is ran, and it can't be any other way. Those are limiting beliefs. And you can be revolutionary. You can choose to be transformational. You can choose to be the breaker of generational curses. And you need to build yourself up to that. That takes time. That takes effort. You don't go from white belt to black belt in a week. You go from white belt to black belt, and then there's levels of black belt that never end. It's a lifelong practice. So in this contraction, negative belief state, it's got different tools. And this is the internal voice in the head saying, I come up with an idea or solution for a situation, and I will justify, well, you know, I don't have time for this. So let's kind of use the idea of simply, I don't have time. You know, one of the beliefs that one of my clients talked about this past week was the fear of not having time to put towards his health. Or let me revert this. If he puts time and effort into his health, he's not going to have time to run his business, to be with his family, and to do the things he needs to be doing, right? That sustain the people who depend upon him, his employees, his clients, his family, his kids, his wife, et cetera, right? It's not all shit. He's got a good life. He's got a good business. He's got great clients. He's got great employees. He's got a great family. But he's not taking time for himself because he fears or feels that he has no choice or no time to be able to do the things he needs to do, in addition to taking care of all those other things. When in fact, I've seen and experienced individuals who had no time actually create more time for themselves and their family and the things that they love to do and enjoy by putting time and effort into themselves, whether it's 5 minutes or 30 minutes or an hour, 3 times a week, 4 times a week. It may take months, it may take years to get to the point where you can see a noticeable, vast difference. But if the guy lost 20 pounds, 60 pounds, or gained muscle when he couldn't gain muscle, and is more confident, and he's facing fears with a different level of tenacity. He's having better and more connection with his relationships and playing with his kids more, doesn't hurt, is getting better sleep, doesn't have those cravings anymore, doesn't fight those same demons that he did 3 months, 6 months, 12 months ago. Those are all means of progress and change and transformation. And you got to look and acknowledge all those things that do change over time. But getting back to this point here with not having enough time to take care of myself, because if I do, then it's going to unravel all the things that really matter and that I would give my life for when it comes down to it. My family, my business, my mission, right? So I don't have time to give to myself. That is a no choice negative belief. So what happens is you justify it or you rationalize it. You're a smart guy. You'll come up with thoughts, reasons, rhymes, and why you can't do it. I could come up with every single reason why that 300-pound man was on my chest and why I could not get out of it. Or I could take it on positively and go, challenge accepted. I'll figure a way, I'll make a way to get out of it. Some way, shape, or form. And that may be not in the session. That may be next week when I go back to it and go, oh, same situation, same scenario. But guess what? I learned last week this little tweak or weakness or situation because I took time to myself to reflect upon the situation, to be able to strategize and come up with another reason. You don't have to take the whole, what's the saying? How do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. So you don't have to take every situation and every problem in your life and figure out a solution right away. You can take it bit by bit, bite by bite. So back to this time, you could reject positive thoughts or solutions or beliefs or ideas or information, right? The intel, the solutions are always out there. It's whether we're receptive to it or not. You could project those thoughts and negative beliefs that will repel any positivity or expansion, right? Paranoia, it could be a past or previous experience that taught you that you're a failure and you can't do this, or it's not worth it, or my dad or my peers or my friends or my other business owners are in the same situation and this is what we accept. I'll tell you right now, the key to success in anything, to break through and break any generational curse or any societal curse or any inner circle curse that all your people and friends and coworkers and etc. complain and combat, is to separate yourself from that situation and that circle and that talk and that projection and that justification and those thoughts, because they're a mirror of your own thoughts and internal dialogue. Get yourself out of there so that you can look at yourself in the mirror, talk to yourself. I'm literally saying go to the bathroom or go for a walk or talk to yourself in certain ways and start looking for somebody or something or some information that is projecting and giving a solution to your problem. Because I guarantee you, any problem, any situation that you are going through has a solution or a opportunity to create a solution for expansion. And then you can be the leader in that problem or that situation, to where now you've created more opportunity growth in your life. And hopefully you can see and understand that as I'm going through this and relate to it. Then the other one that I think is really a paradox is that, you should be doing something, but you don't do it, right? You should be taking time for yourself, but you don't do it. So there's an internal belief, a negative belief that limits you from taking time for yourself, because it's going to cause you to pull time away from the other things that really matter in your life, that you would truly die for, that you would work your ass off for, that you do, and sacrifice your own health and well-being for those and them. You get a reward out of that by doing that and perpetuating that negative belief. You get safety, you get comfort, you get instant gratification. But long-term, you know what it leads to. It leads to arguments, it leads to disconnection, it leads to frustration, it leads to pain, it leads to weight gain, it leads to sickness, it leads to lack of production and performance, right? So there's a temporary reward that keeps you in that circle. I relate it to a toxic relationship because I've been in toxic relationships before with women where they know how to manipulate. and keep you in the game by dosing and giving that little good, just enough to keep you in there. And then you go through it over and over until you finally have enough and go, I'm done with this. This is crazy. Right. But it's all to my own doing. I'm not blaming her now. I'm blaming me for not acknowledging and listening to what I need to do for myself. And as a result to being in that toxic relationship, whether it's with yourself or somebody else or something, it's a relationship with you and a toxic belief that gives you a little bit of reward, that little acknowledgement, comfort, safety, instant gratification to say, see, you listened to me, going to give you a little bit, but then I'm going to back out and I'm going to prevent you from doing the thing you really want to be doing. And then we just repeat that process, and we lose connection and time with ourselves. And as a result of that, because we lose time and connection with ourselves, we lose time and connection with other people and the things that really matter in our life. And you lose connection with them. Now you're trying to collect the pieces, and you're going to find out you've been missing out on a lot. You got a lot to make up for. You got some debt to pay off. So these things, the more you can take time for yourself systematically, and it doesn't require all day, doesn't require massive amounts of time, but it does take commitment. It does take you saying, I'm going to take this time for myself. And it requires you to communicate that with the people around you, your team, your people. I have one client, he's got like 40 plus employees, and he put a red light on his top of his door. And anytime that red light's on, nobody fucks with him. Don't fuck with me. Don't ask me questions. Don't reach out to me. Don't call me. Don't knock on my door. That red light's on. It is me doing something I need to be doing. And it's time and reflection for himself to then go back out onto the field to do what he needs to do. That could be done at home too. You could teach kids very easily to say, when that light's on, or this door's closed, or this thing's on. It's like what guys did in college, right? If something's on the door, don't go in, because you know what he's doing. So you can create the same scenario situation for at home, at work, or anything. You train people because you don't regret or feel bad about it, because if you take care of yourself, you are sure as hell going to be able to take care of them a lot better. And it's going to be less distractive, less combative, less fluff, and more concise, because you're now getting more in tune with yourself. And this leads to more positive beliefs and positive growth and expansion. So to wrap up here, look at your kids, look at anybody that you cherish and love and care for, and you would tell them the same thing. Make time for yourself. Do things for yourself, because it's going to be better for everybody else around you. You have to lead by example. And that's how serious this is that you are the leader in your family and your business, and you need to teach others by example. Dad needs time. Dad needs some time to do this. But you also promise and say, hey, I'm going to take care of you too, right? So this is for you as much as it is for me. And you want me to be happy, so I'm going to do this so that I can add more joy and happiness to all of our lives. And that is the real key to all of this. That's breaking the belief that you don't have time, or you can't make time because you have so much on your plate. The truth is that you can make time to create more time for the things that you do love and do sacrifice yourself for, and get more out of that, all of that in life. So that's what I had to share. Hopefully that all made sense. You guys got any thoughts, anything to share?
No, I'm all good. I didn't have anything. So
Good.
No, that was really good. I like the vision, you know what I mean? Don't sacrifice the immediate things. Your situation, and keep your vision in mind, and that to decide. One thing, you're talking about questions. What are some strong, powerful questions you could ask yourself on a daily basis? What are some good questions you think?
So one question that I'm speaking from a client standpoint first, and then I'll add my personal one. So one is, what keeps you up at night? What's one thing, and in other words, I'll personalize this for myself because I can speak about this authentically. What is occupying my focus and attention during the day? If it's a relationship issue, that needs to be addressed. If it's a conversation that I'm avoiding, that needs to be addressed. If it is steps, unknown steps or situate, or if it's if I don't have a plan for a solution that I know I want. Okay, what do you want? Right? Identify what it is that you want. If you don't know what you want, then figure out what you don't want and then flip it. Right? I know I don't want this, so I want this. So in the situation with jujitsu, I don't want this 300-pound guy on top of my chest. I want to breathe and be on top and be in an offensive position and be in a place where I can rest and recover and still maintain control. You could apply that to anything in life, right? So how do I don't want this, I want that. So get clear on the end image. If you don't know what the end image is, look at what you have that you don't want and start asking yourself, okay, if I don't want this, what do I want? And get clear with the target. You need to shed light on what it is that you want. Getting clear with that. And sometimes that is a process of asking questions over and over again until you figure out what that is. Sometimes it can be immediate, sometimes it can take weeks, sometimes it can take years. But you get little breadcrumbs along the way that continue to keep you curious and moving ahead. And in my jujitsu analogy, shifting that leg and that hip to get it finally break free and get it over that leg, because guess what? He's struggling and having to deal with certain things on his side too, just like life and all these other situations that are thrown at us. They don't have that. It's not endless energy on that side either. So know that it's, you are fatiguing the other side, and that negative belief will break if you continue to stay in the game and continue to move forward to search for that opportunity, that gap, that thing. So what keeps you up at night? What am I constantly putting focus on? What is pulling focus away from the things that I know I need to be focusing on? Those are questions that I internally ask myself when I'm looking for a target. When you get the target, when you've identified what it is that you want and you feel it, like it hits you, right? You're like, that's what I fucking want. That's it right there. Okay. Now you go into, how can I achieve that? What steps can I take? What am I avoiding that's preventing me from doing that? Those are like action orientated steps that you can get more clarity on, right? It's kind of like reverse engineering the process, right? You first identify and get clear with the end target. Now you start to tune your internal compass and start to identify not only solutions to or action steps to the plan, but also figuring out what to ask. Like, you're asking, what type of questions would you ask? You're getting the answers. And the same thing is going to happen when you ask yourself that same question. What questions should I ask myself right now to find out the solutions or the answers to the problem or situation that I'm having, or to the solution or the path that gets me to Z, that helps me reach my target? And it's just like throwing darts or shooting a bow. You don't get bullseye the first time. Do you quit? No. You load up and you do it again. You get closer. Okay, feedback. Cool. Load up, do it again. Closer. Load up, do it again. Shit, way off. What happened? Oh, the wind was blowing that time. It's like, but you continue to ask, continue to search. And I think here's the best answer to your question, Kyle. What questions do you ask to get clarity or to find X, to get the answer? And it's first of all knowing that you have all the answers. So if you can get in touch with your own dialogue and get confident with yourself, which I know you are, but I'm just reminding here. It's like the answers are all within. So internal dialogue, asking yourself and being neutral about the things that come in, the answers that come up. Being neutral about it in the context of a challenge isn't always negative, right? It's an opportunity. It doesn't have to be seamless and automated, the answer, but it should be different than what you're doing. It should be, I think, exciting ultimately. Like it can be scary, but it can still be exciting. And I think that's like really at the end of the day, I think you found the right answer when you get excited about whatever comes through finally. And it's like, oh, fuck, that's new. That's different. Okay, start going down that road. Figure out what that is. And it may be completely unrelated to the outcome that you want. Like I'll tell you this right now. Dating, women for me has been a huge fuel source for me finding solutions in business and in coaching and in life. Because the women that I've dated have, and I'm sure it's the same with you guys, your wives, they do something that nothing or nobody else can do, and touch in certain ways and fuel in certain ways that nobody else or nothing else can fuel you. And somehow it enhances your business, it enhances this, and it does that, right? Completely unrelated, so to speak, but it is all related. So when you ask yourself these questions and you go through life and observe and experience things, you're going to start to get answers not only from within by asking questions, but you're also going to get answers by unexpected ways. So being open-minded to understand that you don't know where the answer is going to come from. You don't know how it's going to come. You just know it's going to come. That's a belief. And we've all experienced that in any area of our life that we are very successful at, is that you don't think about how successful you are at that thing that you are successful at. You just trust and believe that you will always succeed in that thing that you are successful at and that you do very, very fucking well. And you can take that structure and what you're really fucking good at and apply that directly to the thing that you suck ass at. And you can get really fucking good at that thing because you got the belief here. And if you believe that you can transfer that belief over here, now you're breaking the shell of that negative belief. You are now cutting off the reward mechanism that gives you a little bit of a reward just to keep you in that negative belief. And now you start to break the shell completely and expose it for what it is. And now you just, I can look back at my toxic relationships, and when I got out of them right away, it was painful to talk to them. It was hard. It was very irritable. But now, like me and my son's mom, we get along very well. We have our space and we understand we got different lives, but we also have a connected life with our son. But it's not toxic. It's very supportive. It's very loving. It's very peaceful. And we both appreciate that and apply, really are proactive about communication and being respectful for one another and also appreciating what we created. And that was very abrasive and sensitive in the beginning, but over time, as I continue to work on it, I got less reactive. And as a result to it, not ironically, this is related directly. As I got less reactive and less sensitive and emotional and intertwined with the negative aspects of it and became less reactive and more proactive, more positive, she started reacting differently to me, responding differently to me. And as a result of that, the relationship changed. So you are in control of everything. That's a belief that, needs to be internalized. And take any success that you have in life, anything that you can say, I did that, I own that, I am responsible for it. You are responsible for all things, right? Good, bad, and different. you can take that success and flip it and go over there. So it's a long-winded answer, but it's kind of something that is multidimensional. But at the end of the day, you know, the questions come from identifying what you want, and then from there going, what do I need to do to get there? Or what beliefs are holding me back from getting there? Or what do I need to create, or what do I need, or who do I need to make that happen?
Yeah, no, yeah, good answer. That puts a lot of things. I notice just with myself, like I do get caught in situations, and I've been catching myself, and like you get stuck, like you get consumed by the situation and get lost in that instead of focusing on your vision.
Yeah.
And yeah, everything you put down was really good. It just being clear on your vision and focusing on what you want, and when things do go sideways, like retract and don't let it consume you, and just realize you're in control and you can find a way out of it. Yeah, no, that was awesome. It's something that I just got to like refine, and just it's the little tiny adjustments, but I get what you're saying.
I'm telling you, like those little gaps lead to bigger gaps and bigger opportunities to add more of what you want in there. And the more responsive you can become and less reactive in any situation. And there's a duality there, right? You don't want to, responding may require more thinking in the beginning, which isn't natural, because when you're natural and you're just that, you don't have to think about it. You just are. But over time, you can become less reactive and more responsive and more, just natural, and just,
Well,
it becomes automated over time. Um, uh, there's this quote, I didn't finish up with this quote. Einstein was asked, if you had a situation where your life was on the line and you had an hour to come up with the solution to whatever it is that's going to, break you free and make you live beyond that hour, I'm paraphrasing here, what would you do? And he said, I would spend 55 minutes focusing on the right questions to ask, and then the solutions would come from there. So that's the power of asking. And that's what I mean by like um, asking yourself first and foremost. And then from there, it usually requires some outward source to ask from that point. Like how we're interacting with each other now, right? I asked you guys some question to get your feedback. You shared, you guys asked me questions, and then I share, my input, and it just goes back and forth. One last example I want to share is I was going through a situation last week with my car, and it's been kind of an ongoing thing for the past couple months here, replacing one truck that got totaled and then getting a car in between to then get a new car. And I was searching for cars and the right type of, car for me that I can drive long distance, good gas, etc., because I had a truck for years. So it was a different, identity shift in that for me to go from a truck to a car. But I had to put my ego aside and go, this is the smart way to do it. And in that time, I was searching, and I'm like, okay, I'm not getting the solution from searching Facebook Marketplace and Auto Trader and et cetera, et cetera. I'm not finding the car that I want. So who do I know personally that I can ask to do something different, to get a different solution? And it came to mind. I'm like, my client, who, we work on and off. He's kind of one of those guys who's like, comes in, says, hey, want to do this, give me the solution, and then he goes out on his own. So I shot him a text, and he sells cars for a living. And I was like, hey, I'm looking for this, this, and this. He shot me 3 cars within 5 minutes, and I trusted him because we worked together for years. And I'm like, that's the car. I'll come over and I'll get the cash right now. No question. I didn't even need to test drive it before buying it. Like I was ready just to buy it right then and there and go pick it up because of the trust that we had. He said it was good. Okay, cool. So that was an example of like, it took 3 days of grinding on my own to get to that question, you know, the first question was, okay, what do I need to look to get a car? Okay, it was this, that, and the other. That wasn't working. Okay, this isn't working. So what do I need to do, or who do I need to ask, or what do I need to do differently in order to get the solution that I want, which is this type of car? Oh shit, contact this guy. He gave me an answer within 5 minutes, and I was out the door within the next half hour to go pick up the car. Deleted all the messages and all the emails that I got from reaching out to dealers and all that. So that's another example of like just continuously finding ways to get the solution. And it's a jolt of excitement. That's the best way I can describe it. It's like it just an intuitive hit, right? It like sparks you. It's not like jump for joy excitement always. It's like, oh shit, that's it. Or that's the thing you've been looking for. You know, if you're looking for a particular, where's Waldo? Let's give that an example, right? You're looking for Waldo and boom, you find it. Okay, that's an example of what you're searching for. You're just doing that through, you know, mental realms in non-physical ways. Is another way to put it. So, yeah, it's
Yeah.
really, there's a book called Ask with an exclamation point. It's by Wayne Dyer, I think. I'm looking at it right now. Ask. I didn't read the whole book, but the first quarter of the book was enough to listen to and get a great story out of it and realize how important asking is. But that Einstein scenario really signifies how important asking the right questions, and asking the right questions to get the right questions to get the right solution is just a process.
No, totally. Yeah, like I'm gonna have to check that out. Yeah, just going through makes you really think. Like questions are huge and they're powerful. And if you ask the right questions, you're gonna find the right answer. It makes me think of this other quote. What is it? Abraham Lincoln. He said, "If you give me, if you give me 6 hours to chop down a tree, I'll sharpen the axe for 4 and cut it down in 2." You
Yeah,
know,
exactly.
it's the same type of deal. But yeah, yeah, no, very profound, and it's definitely made me click a couple things. And just yeah, questions are huge and they're powerful, and the answers are in there, but you got to ask yourself the right. Yeah, it makes a lot of sense.
Yep. Yeah, these are reminders. These are all things we know, right? It's just it resonates and it hits. It's like, oh yeah, need to put more emphasis and attention on that.
Yeah, reinforcement. Like we know a lot of these things. You know, we listen to Tim and this and that, and it's just constant reinforcement and reinforcing the state of mind that you need to be in. Like it's all these little things, talks here, talks there, and it puts you in that state where you're like, all right, I got to grow, and just being around people that want to grow. You know, I just in my area, there's a lot of people around me that, yeah, don't want to grow, especially in my industry and stuff like that. Like they're just, yeah, you know, vultures. That's the
Yep.
best way I can explain. So it's good being around good people with higher consciousness for sure.
Yep. That's really, I think, key to any success is like being around the right people at the right times. You know, this being an example, this is giving time to yourself, right? You know, that's an example of it. It happens in so many different ways. It can be with the right people and still give time to yourself. It should be fulfilling. It should not be draining. It should be re-energizing. It should not be withdrawing. You know, it should not be contracting. It should be expanding. So positive, negative, right? Taking that diagram into account, that vision. And the way it was explained to me, that diagram, just to go back to this real quick, is just the visualization of this. If you can look at this, you've imprinted into your nervous system, into your brain, a different program. And even though you may not internalize it completely, you will start to notice things. And I've started to look at beliefs and look at it from this like honeycomb type of shape versus this ever expanding type of shape when I come across situations, scenarios, and thinking and beliefs and etc. And looking at it from this perspective and going, oh, I can put a crack in the shell of this negative or this unwanted outcome. And it makes you just realize things a little bit differently. And it's like sometimes it takes just a little bit different tweak of something to change the whole game, right, Mike? Like you're doing strength training in a different way. You've done strength training, but now you're approaching it with intensity, and you're saying last week was the first time you felt out of breath while you're doing strength training, because it's not just the muscle burn, but it's the intensity of that lift, right? You don't just lift the weight, you lift it with control, but with fucking intention and intensity. You don't want to be just up and down. You want to be controlled, but strong and powerful. So explosiveness in the rep with control, it's these paradox. It's these, both strength and poise, controlled rage, right, Kyle? Like that's the paradox. And that's where the positive expansion energy really resides, is embracing that paradox and finding that special art and science mixture for every situation, every question, every answer, everything. And it's a fine line between getting overwhelmed with this shit, and then I don't think we get overwhelmed with it. It's more so it's like we're willing to take this shit on. It's just about we want to become better at finding the solutions and creating results and getting more wins so that we can put ourselves through more of these situations and enjoy them more and get more results. And the more we believe in ourselves and the more we believe we can get there, the faster we can do it, the better life gets.
100%, man. 100%.
Good stuff, man. Good stuff. So, all right, I'll let you guys get back to your day here, man. And anytime you guys need to reach out and got any questions, just shoot me a message. Happy to keep this conversation going and happy to keep any conversation going around this stuff because it just helps everybody, So anything that comes to mind or any resources or anything that you need or want to share, by all means, just put it into action. And that's where, speaking words, writing things down, typing things out, sending things helps to solidify not only for the other person, but for you. And, just take action, continuous action.
Okay.
See you guys.
Yeah. See you later.